And now, delivered to you straight from the 505's most news-biting source of politi-comma-tainment, it's the New Mexican Inquisition with Danger K. Varoz.
Thank you, and welcome back to the New Mexican Inquisition. I'm your host, Danger K. Varoz. We have a great show for you tonight. We have Cindy Nava on the show. She is a dreamer, local political activist. All right, we have a very funny lady, a comedian, improv performer, Elena Warden on the show tonight. And my heart, my love, my life, New Mexican Inquisition, political analyst, and oddly enough, immigration expert, Isiah Yazzie is on the show. Well, let's get a little bit of news first. In a recent study, it was revealed that the average Albuquerque citizen would need to have 2.2 jobs in order to make the $12.87 an hour required to rent a two-bedroom apartment in the city that we live in. Wow, that's rough. This is why millennials can't buy homes, Dad, okay? And my friend Rob, he's just not hanging around the apartment. He's actually subletting my bathroom so I can pay rent. And he also buys the pot. In an episode of Right Privilege that'll make your head spin, Evan Ritchie, who is busted for, get this, crushing, strangling, and headbutting his 4-month-old child, was recently allowed to leave the state to attend a motocross event. The judge, in his defense, said that Mr. Ritchie was only a danger to his own son and nobody else, which is why he let him go. Which I can't believe that, And that's fine, just as long as Mr. Ritchie doesn't adopt any kids at the motocross event, which I can't imagine happening. In other horrible news, a wrestling coach in Las Vegas was recently arrested after state police say he ran a man over. It was another coach in the Las Vegas area. The two men started a fight over text messaging, and then they agreed to meet and fist fight. But whenever they got there, the man who was arrested, Martinez, didn't get out of his car. He just ran his opponent over in the car. What's everyone upset about? It sounds like he just won the fight, right? This isn't New Brunswick where we have duels and slap each other in the faces with tiny little gloves, This is Burke, dog. We got guys doing combo moves on babies and making it to motocross by Monday. What else is making us crazy? Oh, it was just announced today, we're taping on Friday, that the Albuquerque City Council voted with only one dissenting vote to allow $2.6 million of your taxpayer money to go to help pay for a Dallas-based company to build an indoor golfing course where the beach water park used to be. Can I just get a small clap for the beach water park? Now we get indoor golfing. We get air-conditioned golfing, and you're on the hook for $2.6 million. One dissenting vote. That means everyone else on the county council voted for this, including Pat Davis, our homie Pat Davis. Come on, Pat Davis. Mr. F the NRA, Pat Davis. Come on, you voting for this. That just makes me so mad. Hold on a second. I'm gonna text Pat Davis real quick. I'm gonna let him know what I think. Hey, Pat Davis, meet me in the parking lot of Target on Paseo. I'm going to fight you. This is about Top Golf. Send. Pat Davis. I'm not even going to fight him. When he gets there, I'm going to run him over with my golfing cart. In a recent analysis released by Pew Charitable Trust, New Mexico is completely, totally stagnating in its population. Very sad, very sad. This is because all the young professionals and tradesmen and women are fleeing the state, seeking more robust economies elsewhere. And as they should. Go get a job, guys, you know. But the only thing, it turns out, that's keeping us from actually decreasing in population is the nation-leading teen birth rate is slightly outpacing the rate at which people are dying horrible deaths here in New Mexico. So. Sometimes people just ride or die to the bitter end. You know, it's like the State Board of Finances rejected Secretary of State Maggie Toulouse Oliver's $66,516 request for emergency funds to help pay for the court settlement. We sued Steve Pierce, and then he sued us back, and then he's getting all this court settlement fees, you know, and I think that's crazy because the State Finance Board includes people like Governor Susana Martinez and Lieutenant Governor John Sanchez, who they say they failed to see how this tantamounts to an emergency. You know, well, we fail to see how this $1 million is even yours to begin with, Steve. God, Steve. You know, but from Steve Pierce's perspective, the deep state in New Mexico and his bureaucratic cronies are all collaborating to, you know, usurp his ability to win the governorship, and we should vote for this man because Bigfoot, aliens, and Obama's a Muslim, and gays are gross. I don't know. Got a little off the chain there, sorry. Steve Pierce is also complaining about a new poll that was released by Carroll Strategies that shows Michelle Lujan Grisham taking a 7-point lead over Steve Pierce. He says that the poll shouldn't be counted because what was the problem with it? They were mostly polling people with landlines and not cell phones, which that doesn't add up because if you're only polling people who answer landlines, you should be getting a disproportionately geriatric and Republican pool. I mean, come on. You know, while you're at it, Carroll Strategies, while you're polling landlines, you should just ask people for their social security numbers because they hear those old folks are just handing them out over the phone. Like butterscotch, handing them out. Loveless Women's Hospital are now open for business to men. Yeah! Yes, men can go there now because they have a new robot that is performing prostatectomies. A robot is removing the prostate gland, and now you can go to women's lab. But of course, you don't have to just go to Loveless Women's Health Hospital. You can also just get your butt touched basically anywhere, just like the good old days. You can get butt touched here. We tape the New Mexican Inquisition every Friday at 6:30. There's never a cover, all right? Come on down, join the fun. We got a great show for you tonight. Get your butt touched by a human with warm hands, no robots. We got a great show for you. Stick around after these messages.
Gameshow Hour now, Albuquerque's finest game show, where you can win prizes for knowing and doing things. Hour Now features local performers, politicians, and community activists as guest contestants. Spar up with guest contestants to win exclusive prizes. Participate or watch Hour Now July 7th at the Orpheum Arts Space. Doors open at 7:30, tickets $5. Guest contestants are Gus Pedrati, Sophie Martin, and Dylan Ray. A portion of the proceeds go to HomeWise. Sidetrack Brewing Company will be set up for beer sales. Visit facebook.com/hournow, HOURNOW, for more details.
Hey there, would you like to advertise your business on the New Mexican Inquisition? Well, just contact us on our website at NMINQ.com.
Welcome back to the New Mexican Inquisition. I'm your host, Danger K. Varoz. We have a news-biting panel of guests on the show tonight. To my right is our good friend, New Mexican Inquisition political analyst, and oddly enough, immigration expert and Diné spokesperson, Isiah Yazzie, is in the house tonight.
Got some serious questions tonight, like, think of this one. What's the sexiest name?
Huh. We'll think about that in a minute.
Thank you.
That is a news-biting question. Of course, we have a political activist, dreamer, the very amazing, the very intelligent Cindy Nava is on the show. To my left, everyone give her a hand. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate you coming on the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
On such short notice. I always say that, depending, it doesn't matter how
No
long.
worries. Your notice.
We also have improv performer, comedian. She warmed up the audience before the show. The very funny Elena. Warden is in the house, on the panel. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I hope nobody laughs at me.
You ever been... You
Have
ever
I been what?
You ever been on television in front of all these cameras before? Is this...
I mean, not these specific cameras, unless they happen to be shared by like KOB 13 when I was 5.
Ooh.
But yes, I was on
5.
TV when I was 5.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I was on TV when I was 4. After I won the hopathon in preschool, I hopped on one foot more times than any other kid in my preschool.
That is so impressive. That deserves to be on TV. I'm glad you're on TV.
I had the same exact suit on. I was saving it for this special occasion. So we have.
I'm surprised you didn't trip on your tie.
I did. You saw it on TV. We have an amazing new segment in our 3rd season. It's the lightning round, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to begin right now. We should create a graphic for that. There should be like actual sound effects, so our audience isn't going pew pew pew. Lightning round.
Wait, that's not lightning?
No, not even.
Oh, okay.
We have a lot of news-biting questions for you, Cindy,
Oh,
if you
yes.
would tolerate them for just a moment.
I hope so.
I'll start if that's okay with you two.
Please.
You are a dreamer,
I am a DACA recipient.
a DACA recipient. Now, you and your DACA recipient friends must have plans for the 4th of July. What are they?
Wow. It's a very hard question. Right, there's no time to think about that right
Time's
now.
up. I also have no plans for the 4th of July.
Wonderful.
None.
Wonderful.
No plans for the 4th of July. Do you guys have any plans for the 4th of July?
Fireworks in Hamus.
That's not your plans, that's everybody's plans.
Wait, we're all going to Hamus?
We should...
I'd be happy to.
This should be
Bust
the
it up.
beginning of our
Bust it up.
plan.
Bust it up.
Oh, hey,
We should all go to the Hamas together.
All right.
Are you down?
All right. 4th
4th of July?
Thank you.
I hate to be a party pooper, but the forest is shut down because it's so dry.
Then why are
Okay,
you going?
no, good point.
You said
I
you-
wanted to, but guess not this year.
All right, Isiah,
Okay, I
I'm going to
got a
shoot the
quick
next question
question,
to
yeah.
you.
Okay, love what you're doing. Love the term dreamers, but why is the ERS not capitalized with the rest of... It's like capital DREAM, lowercase ERS. Why is that?
It is really not that serious of a question.
It seems like it's an acronym.
It really
maybe,
isn't.
Or...
I mean, for the people
Time's
who...
up, time's up, I think.
No,
time's up.
no. I'm really impressed with this. She took your fastball and she threw it right back at you. You should be ashamed of yourself. All right, next question goes to Elena.
Should somebody like warn Mexico? Like, do they know that like their children are getting taken from them? They keep coming anyway. Is it that bad, or is there a communication like?
Oh, they're very well aware. Very
Okay.
well aware. People here should be notified.
It's no secret.
Okay.
It's out. Cat's out.
All right, well, that was fun. All right, next question
Well,
is...
you said they could be serious danger.
No, that was very good. That was a very
very
serious
serious
question. I have an equally serious question. Cindy, is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco?
I don't like tacos, so I don't care.
Oh, I like that. She grabbed your fastball and threw it right back at you, Danger. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like it. I love it, actually. I really love it.
I am hired, right? I'm hired. Thank
That's what
you.
this whole show's going to be like. They're going to be like, "Ah!"
My face.
All right, next question's yours, Isiah.
I asked you earlier, what's the sexiest name?
New Mexico. I'm surprised you didn't know that. Concerning.
All right, Elena, question's yours.
Do you think that Ice Baby was a Queen ripoff or not?
Only if it came from Frozen.
Like the Disney film?
You were really good at lightning round. Now, we did not give her these questions beforehand.
It's like the desert in here. I'm sweating.
Me too. It's like Gallup on the 4th of July, where we won't be on the 4th of July. All right, next question is mine. So, I have a multi-pronged question,
All right.
as McCain would say when he would ask questions. They were all multi-pronged. Do
Sure.
you remember? Are you from Mexico?
I am. I was born in Mexico.
Born in Mexico. Okay. So, like, how many pounds of drugs did you smuggle with you when you came here?
Very difficult question. You know, I have no knowledge, especially because, you know, when you're 7, I just don't know how much you can handle. So that's extremely impossible. So I'm sorry. I was not.
7-year-old,
7, yeah.
roughly 50 pounds. Couldn't be any more than that.
No idea.
All
Not
right,
my interest.
The other prong is, do you remember the name of the coyote who brought you over? You have to tell us.
Oh,
It's the law.
Really? No, I've no knowledge of that.
Okay. Isiah, next question.
Just killed the mood danger, but how many recipients of DACA are there?
Recipients of DACA?
How many dreamers? How many
Where?
how many
New
of
Mexico
people,
or
yeah.
country? Oh, roughly around 11
Okay.
million.
Ooh. Wait, dreamers?
Well,
Is a dreamer different than a DACA recipient?
yes, essentially, because so there's individuals who qualified for DACA, right? But there's many who are actually, considered dreamers. They just didn't meet maybe the age or different things. So, everyone uses different terms, so it's sort of difficult to really be specific about how you identify, right? So when people tell me like, oh, are you a dreamer? I'd rather identify myself as a DACA recipient. So in New Mexico, approximately 8,000.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah, that makes sense. I'd rather be a DACA recipient too, because dreamer is indicative of like looking forward to something,
like
but
so
everything is just
it's
like
a
such
term
a
that
disaster.
it's a term that was made up by the government.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
That's probably why it sounds whimsical and not serious.
Absolutely, thank you.
One more question before we hit our next commercial break.
If you woke up in a big pink shelf full of pillows, would you freak out?
Pink is my favorite color.
You'd like it?
So.
There you go.
You totally had these questions beforehand.
You never answered sexiest name though.
I
She
said
said
New
New
Mexico.
Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Are you?
Man,
I'm concerned. Where are you from again?
this is the worst lightning round ever.
I'm just gonna say fuera.
I was hoping like a human name.
All right, we gotta
That is
take
a
we gotta
human.
take a commercial break. We'll be right back with more of this horrible charade right after these messages.
Gameshow Hour now, Albuquerque's finest game show, where you can win prizes for knowing and doing things. Hour Now features local performers, politicians, and community activists as guest contestants. Spar up with guest contestants to win exclusive prizes. Participate or watch Hour Now July 7th at the Orpheum Art Space. Doors open at 7:30, tickets $5. Guest contestants are Gus Pedrati, Sophie Martin, and Dylan Ray. A portion of the proceeds go to HomeWise. Sidetrack Brewing Company will be set up for beer sales. Visit facebook.com/hournow, HOURNOW, for more details.
Hey there, would you like to advertise your business on the New Mexican Inquisition? Well, just contact us on our website at NMINQ.com.
Welcome back to the New Mexican Inquisition. We have Cindy Nava on the show tonight. We're talking about immigration. So that's great. You made it to the lightning round. You kind of kicked all of our butts. With our tails between our legs, we'd like to ask you some serious questions.
It's okay, sure.
Now, The first one, I'm very curious about, like, now our DACA recipients, are they like one homogenous group? And if so, like what like matters to them? Like you can speak for all of them, but like what,
Right,
in your opinion, what do you think is really important?
Right. So, and just making a correction because I got so attacked in the previous round. 11 million undocumented immigrants, and in regards to DACA recipients, approximately 800,000. And in New Mexico, around 8,000. So just fact checking. But in regards to being a homogenous group, most certainly not. I mean, what social movement do you know where everyone was a homogenous group? I mean, you have the Martin Luther Kings and you have the Malcolm X's, right? So I think we are a very, very diverse group of individuals. I think it's always important. I think there's many different ways to take action, and I'm a huge advocate about this because I feel that sometimes we get put into these boxes, right? Like, oh, you are a dreamer or you are a DACA person and you should be a certain way, and that's not the reality. So we are all very different, working in very different areas. Some may be, front line of the rallies, some may be doing legislative work, some may be total academics, but we're very different. And I think that's a very important question to always, share with individuals, because I think when people who are against immigration, or specifically DACA recipients, when they can see the diversity within us, I think it's a whole different approach.
Right, they tend to
people.
like to lump everybody in the same category.
As usual, yeah.
Do you have a question, Isiah?
Yes, it's not really about DACA, but immigration.
Yeah.
So Trump signed an executive order a few days ago, like to stop the separation of families. So what's going to happen to the families that were already separated? Are they going to be put back together? Because I figure, like, U.S. government separating people, it doesn't really go well.
Right.
Try to put people back together, So
Right.
what's going to happen to the people who are separated?
Right. So,
Already.
I mean, I wish I could have a definite answer, right? But, I mean, from what I know, from what I've seen in the coalitions and the people that I collaborate with on these matters, that's not a God-given reality. That's not going to happen. I mean, they've already been separated. There's already issues with finding the children and finding out where they've been placed. So even though this executive order to reverse his own policy, by the way, was done, means nothing to these families, really. And I think that it's very important that we speak about that, because my concern is that people may lay back and be like, oh, all right, everything's fixed, right? But that's not the reality. These families have been torn apart, and I think for many of us who understand these lives, who understand these stories, and who have tangible experience, understanding what it means to be undocumented and what it means to be separated from those that you love, it's extremely hard to even see that. Because I have two nieces from my sister who's DACA, so I mean, I can see that. So these families really, we don't know how long it's going to take for them to come back together, for them to be reunited. So I wish I had a better answer.
Nobody seems to know.
Absolutely.
It's a tragedy of it.
So what would an ideal immigration policy look like, right? So here we're in this kind of extreme example of something that's very not ideal. Has the United States ever had kind of a more ideal immigration policy? Is that possible? Like, is there somewhere between this and just kind of free open border?
I mean,
Of course there is.
absolutely, yes. I mean, I absolutely think that there is definitely ways that we could come to a consensus where it's something a little more rational than anything that we've had.
So you don't think that we've ever had one that was necessarily
I mean,
ideal?
I specifically don't necessarily think so.
Okay.
I don't.
Can I ask just for this is obviously a big question, but just a slice of what an ideal one might look like? What would the policing strategy look like for something more?
Right. I mean,
more
primarily, the prosecution of individuals who have not committed any crimes other than trying to come into the country, without documentation, the fact that they're being prosecuted now, that adds a whole other layer into this immigration talk, right? And it's millions of dollars that they're spending to prosecute these individuals who have no criminal record many times, right? So if we can start by not doing that and really acknowledging the fact that many of these families are coming from countries that, they're escaping situations that we can't even comprehend in the United States. So I think if we can start by thinking about the family unit, then we've got a good start.
So this is a really important time. I feel like, I mean, we've had marches in Texas. There are people bringing supplies to protesters. People are trying to legislate. There's all kinds of tiers about ways that people are trying to get involved. But how can people become advocates of this? How can, maybe are there any immigrant groups you associate with that people can donate to or participate in? Or?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a whole lot of people that, that are out there, hard activists, and I have a hard time, calling myself an activist, because I sort of call myself more of an advocate, because I honor the work of activists and them putting themselves on the front line. And that hasn't necessarily been the approach that I've been privileged to have or been able to do because of that fear. Mm-hmm. So when you grow up, being undocumented, it's a very different scenario than to having the privilege of being concerned and worried about these families because you're living it day by day. So whenever I speak to people, I tell them, isn't it great that you have the privilege to think and to sit at your house and be worried and be concerned and be thoughtful and be strategic about what you can do? While when we are part of this issue, we don't have time for that because we have to survive. So we have to surpass that, or else, we'd be crazy. We'd be going crazy. You have to find a way that fits what you want to do.
So back to the second part of the question, are there any immigrant groups that people can?
So I particularly, I'm associated with a new binational association. It's called AMAYI, the American Mexican Association of Young Immigrants, and that one is connected to the American Mexican Association. And it's basically, AMAYI is a group of DACA recipients from across the country, and the association is barely coming into the making, essentially. But it's very focused on advocating for Mexican immigrants in the U.S. So
American Mexican Association of Young Immigrants.
Yes, And then I'm also part of a podcast, UndocuTalks, and we try to bring information and resources to the community in terms of, really sort of being an education route from the lens of individuals who have lived that undocumented life. And, there's here in town, there's a lot of organizations that are doing direct advocacy. Somos un Pueblo Unido, El Centro de Derecho y Igualdad. There's quite a few of them, and I just encourage people to be educated on the subject, to go beyond what you see on the news, to really read on the subject and really find ways. If you don't have the time, then donate. Then, I have a great friend, Allegra Love, doing some fantastic work in Santa Fe, doing stuff for pro bono for DACA and, trying to help these kids that are down south. So I would say get involved, get informed, and be mobilized.
Get involved, get informed, be mobilized. This has been Cindy Nava, the president of the American Mexican Association of Young Immigrants on the Mexican Inquisition. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. Come back, visit us next week. Don't forget to come visit us in our studio for the live tapings, and find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. Thanks again, Stephanie Tejas, for booking our guest, and have a good night. Everyone be good to each other.